You gotta have a fail-safe.
You gotta have a chip to fall back on.
When the chips are down.
Chips are down. A lot of those chips went down. They're going down to where I work.
Oh, they're still going down.
Chips we were down.
That'd be like the other Big Mac challenge.
Oh my God! Eat all the Kelly chips in his house.
Well, cheers, Aquarius, and welcome to From Behind the Barcast, the podcast for bartending, service industry, drinking in general, and now eating well and
or eating,
not eating so well.
Because not eating so well.
Because I think our food segments lately have been.
Yeah.
I mean, one of our highlights from the other week was just we were about to stop the podcast.
Was the pop? Go to YouTube and watch the popper segment if you haven't done it. It's
because
great.
We cut that out. I mean, we separated that clip completely because it was hot fire tater tot talk.
Yeah. It got good.
Well, let's talk about what we are drinking. I need to take a sip if I'm gonna.
Oh, it's okay. This has got all the chunks in it, so it's even better. Oh yeah,
that's great.
So what we're drinking in honor of Peach Fest this past weekend, we're drinking a grilled peach old fashioned. So we have Bullet Rye whiskey, Bouillet. If you're from wherever the hell Paxton's from. Muddled some charred peaches with, instead of using simple syrup, I used the peach, the jar from the peach juice. I bought the regular, not like a regular ass sugar one. So instead of, had that to use.
Yeah.
A little bit of bitters, a little bit of lime juice. Muddled the mess out of that. Add the whiskey, stirred it up a little bit, poured it over this giant fat stone here. And I tell you what, I'm not a big whiskey guy, but the peaches and the smoke, I wish we couldn't get fresh peaches. It's not peach season. But I tried.
So before we while we were recording, so we have Travis Jaudon up here from Hot Grits podcast. He's going to be on our second segment. But while you and Clint was on his podcast earlier, I was on there a tiny little bit.
So check out that episode this week.
Yeah, definitely check that out. And if you haven't listened to last week's Hot Grits episode and you're local, he interviewed Brian West and it was spot on. Very well done. I started drinking the Bullet with just the syrup out of the peaches can with just a splash of water, and it was delightful. And so all these chunks floating around in there, I got to give a shout out to a friend, coworker, and patron, Kyle. He's been fermenting sort of like a kombucha style thing, and he ferments like a pineapple juice with other things. He gave it to me like a week ago. I left it in the fridge so that it could continue to ferment. I bought a bottle of Finlandia. I mixed them together, and when I popped the top on it, it was more fizzy than like the best champagne. And there was chunks of pineapple in there.
Yeah.
And when he gave it to me, he forgot to tell me. He was like, "Hey, let it sit." You were.
I got peach. I knew I had it somewhere.
He forgot to tell me to let it sit for a little while so that it could, continue fermenting. But I didn't use it for a week, anyways. So when I did open it, the pop topped and it was like, and I mixed it with that. I drank the whole bottle of Finlandia with this tincture. So shout out to Kyle for that. Also, shout out Carl.
Carl for the glasses. More on Carl later. Maybe somebody different.
Also, we sort of neglect this, but besides, thank you to the patrons. You helped the show run.
Yes, thank you so much.
We appreciate you for doing that. Thank you for following us on Instagram and subscribing to us on YouTube. But also, we sort of forget sometimes that there are a lot of people that really support us and take care of us. Carolyn Williams, I saw her last night. Go to formycard.com, sign up. I'm going to put a link in the description. Also,
I want to definitely give a shout out to Bubba Gumbos and Caitlin, the proprietor of this beautiful establishment. I went there on Thursday, had dinner with my stepbrothers who were in town, and she made me a scallop dish that was going to be the special that following weekend or the next week, and she wanted me to try it. She's like, "You get here by 7, I'm hustling to get there." Shout out Jesse Gulliver, who gave me a ride, long-time listener. She was like, "We made it just in time, thank God." So she made this for me, and man, it was like 3 scallops. She cooked down garlic and onions and like chicken stock and tomatoes, strained it, and then cooked the same ingredients fresh with the scallops. Fantastic little red pepper coulis on top.
Did you put a picture of it on
our page?
Okay.
Go to our Instagram. There's a picture of the dish that she had. So here's the thing: I eat this, and I obviously have to share with everybody at my table. But I'm getting at least a scallop and some change. 2 other people walked up and saw the dish that were not with us, and were like, "Ooh, I'm getting the scallops." And they got it, and we're like, "Why do mine look different?" Like,
Sorry, I know.
Thank you, Caitlin. And it was fire.
So it's super rare that I look at the Instagram, but I saw a picture of that dish on there, and a buddy of mine who is a patron now, he lives in Chicago, sort of ex-roommate of mine down in St. Simon's. I saw him comment on it, and I was like, oh yeah, Russ, hey, thank you for commenting on our stuff, because now we're turning into a...
And then I also had their special of the week was a shrimp pimento cheese smash burger. And look, I'm all into putting pimento cheese on sandwiches. So it was bun, patty, shrimp pimento cheese, patty, shrimp pimento cheese, top of bun.
Wait, no. Is it pimento cheese with shrimp mixed in?
Into the pimento cheese, yes.
Oh, so it's like a shrimp salad, except it's pimento cheese.
Yes, with the smash burger pat. Oh my, it was so heavenly.
How melty did the pimento get, though?
Not super melty, which is fine with me.
That's a problem sometimes.
Yeah, because you don't want to get that shrimp too warm again, because it's a shrimp. You don't want to
cook it. That's right. Yeah.
And it is the season for the shrimp in the area, because I had a Little Country Bowl this week. I had bought 5 pounds of shrimp, ate a whole pound, then went and had a Little Country Bowl the next day. Like I love shrimp.
My favorite part of the year, especially when it comes to shrimp stuff, is roe shrimp. Whenever they have that fat orange.
Oh yeah, you like that part?
I love the roe so damn much. It's like and I don't like sea urchin necessarily, what you eat out of the sea urchin is the roe, but I do like tabiko, which is the flying fish roe that they'll put on top of sushi sometimes. I like salmon roe, which is the fat orange ones.
Yeah, I like the salmon roe.
Kelly's over
orange
there,
or
red. Like getting nauseous right now.
Roe no.
Roe versus I don't care. Roe loses.
I've got to slide this peach into my cocktail because every time I try to take a sip, it just slides over and hits me in the face, which is why I keep getting peach on my face. I don't have peach fuzz anymore. People,
that first peach that you had in your soul patch, I was like, should I say it? Yes, I should. Yes, I should say something.
Sometimes you're with somebody and they got something in their teeth, and you're like immediately like I'm warning them. But if they've been in any way a dick lately, I'm like, you just sit there with potato skin on your teeth or whatever it is.
Yes.
There is a marker of if you tell someone or not. Like I'll go to a table, and if they're garbage table, I don't tell them nothing.
But any old lady, as long as she's mildly sweet, it's got lipstick on her teeth, I will gently lean over in her ear and go, "You have a little bit of lipstick on your teeth." And I like when they go, "How come none of you told me that? I have lipstick on my teeth." And I'm like, "Yeah, get them."
Boom, points for you as the server.
The thing is, they're like, she's like, "I'm gonna go to the bathroom." I'm like, "No, baby, cell phone. There you go."
No, but you should. Isn't that kind of embarrassing to do that in public? Like, go to the bathroom to wipe the lipstick off of your teeth, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably it.
You know what I mean?
If you're a lady, if you're not, you're just like,
Well, speaking of going up to garbage tables and deciding how you feel about them within a first couple interactions. So last Thursday when I worked, I had this table, and I'm gonna get to it's kind of a long. Diatribe to get to a very small point.
You saw me go ahead and sit over here and cross my legs.
I know,
I heard you take an inhale of air and went.
He leaned away from the mic and got cozy. And got cozy.
Back, like, all right, I'm here for you. Go ahead, man.
All right. So we've all heard of adult onset diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
Does the whole room agree, right?
Yes.
And do we all agree that adult onset diabetes is when you're typically a Southerner and you eat like shit all of your life?
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, your insulin can't keep up with your sugar and fat and whatever intake. So you become diabetic. It's self-inflicted diabetes. I've known people with type 1 who were born with, some people just have the insulin deficiency or whatever. Well, I discovered at this table, my first table on Thursday, that there's a such thing called adult onset mental disability, adult onset special needs. It's where a group of people either drink themselves to stupidity, eat themselves to stupidity, or shelter themselves from the knowledge of the great wide world that is available to all of us on the internet into stupidity. So I get to this table.
Oh, I thought you had your coworkers.
No.
There's a few of them too.
So I get to the table and I'll be rude or whatever. Looking at them, they were nice enough, but people have a certain facial structure where they look like there might be a couple cousins that are a little close.
A little Neanderthalish.
Yeah. So that
I know that look though. You walk up and you're like, Effingham, Tiger Ridge,
exactly.
Okay,
So it reminded me of something later on that day. So I had read the study, and in like the early 19 to mid 1900s in the Appalachia area of the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
in the most rural parts, there's an overall IQ and like cognitive drop in the general intelligence of people. This is science now. So they were trying to figure out what it was because statewide, federally, whatever, there's a curriculum for education that most places adhere to. So they were wondering, are they not learning from their teachers, from school, whatever? So it took them a long time to figure this out. But in that area, they all had a hookworm from the pork that they were eating. And that caused cognitive development in the children. So they weren't dumb because they were inbred necessarily, even though some of them were. But they found the scientific reason for a drop in the cognitive ability of a generation of people that lived in this rural area.
Yeah, they call it the germ of laziness. The hookworm will make you quit lazy and like,
and lethargic and stupid. Yeah, right. Science, man.
Exactly.
So then that sparked, I'm sort of an Anglophile in some sort of ways. Like I love studying English culture. So it sparked a memory of a documentary that I watched about Victorian era England, right? So that's like mid 1800s to the early 1900s,
yep.
something like that.
Yeah.
In the industrial period of England, lead was in literally everything.
Yeah, baby food, diapers,
kids' toys, the paint. Asbestos was everywhere. The things they used to heat their tubs, everything was a hazard that they didn't know about, but it was such a small amount of lead and all of these things that they had the exact same problem. There's a huge drop in cognitive function and
especially if you're, amongst the poors, you're going to have cheaper and cheaper things you can get. So.
Here's the thing: it wasn't amongst the poors. It was amongst the middle class because the poors couldn't afford the green paint, which was in style.
Oh,
so if you bought green paint, that meant you were moving up in the world.
It's like an upside down pineapple.
So everything, every indication that you were becoming more rich or becoming more affluent
was on paint.
It was on and it was on a lot of things, right?
So now it's like with Botox. I got you.
So then, further down the line in the U.S. with the U.S. Industrial Revolution, there was a guy that was trying to figure out how to make petroleum cheaper, and he tried a million things. Finally, they landed on lead. So if you put 1 part per million of lead into your fuel, it weighs a lot and it costs less.
Since we have unleaded fuel now.
And lead kills everyone's brain cells.
That's why I think that's where the term wall liquor came from.
Yeah.
Or paint chip eater.
Yeah, exactly.
Wall liquor eating lead paint.
So all that diatribe just to come to this one little point right here. So this family.
So you're waiting on a Victorian era family from the Appalachia?
Yeah. Basically, I think their ancestors came from the Victorian period, and then they moved straight to Appalachia in the rural area.
Those of you that are still here.
So then hey, man, come on, man. So they sit down, and they're nice enough people. They all order like sodas and a pizza. I mean, overall, like nice people.
Pleasant but dumb?
Yeah, pleasant but dumb. Exactly. So we have as bars do, there's like a Bud Light sign over here. There's like, all these signs. This, the patriarch of the situation, he looks up, he goes, "Y'all still serving Bud Light here?" And immediately I was like, okay, there's no way I'm going to get into a debate with this subhuman.
But yeah,
I'm being rude. I don't give a fuck. About like, how dumb it is, whatever. I was like, so I tried to kowtow to his way of thinking. I was like, well, we wouldn't just throw it all away, brother. That would be wasted money.
Like the lead paint, we didn't throw all away. We just used it for a long time.
Then he goes, man, I ain't seen nobody serving Bud Light in the past couple. I'm like, are you really?
You go to a lot of bars there?
Yeah.
Buddy?
How many bars do you go to? And you're not even drinking.
Yeah. So what's your beer?
I haven't seen people serving Bud Light. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. So I, completely disregarded it. They were nice, game over. They left. Next day I go to work. I'm sitting there with my buddy Gil. He's a really great regular of mine. I just met his son yesterday and his son's boyfriend. Hopefully I will be officiating their wedding. And then their cousin. So Gil is sitting there. Gil drinks Bud Light religiously. That's what he drinks.
And it's with a lot of beer drinkers. People are just stuck on one beer.
It's what he prefers to drink. And for me, I don't give a good goddamn what you choose to drink. If you like what I'm not like, oh, he ordered this. That means he's this.
God, I just thought of somebody that really would have hated this Bud Light thing and would have jumped on board. Rest in peace, Vince King. But Vince King would be like, this is why I don't drink Bud Light. This is why I don't drink Bud Light. He'd have jumped right on that
Yeah, and he's
train.
been drinking Miller Lite forever, so it'd be easy for him to say that.
Exactly.
All right, so then Jackass walks up. we all probably know him, but there's no reason to dox him or anything like that. So the guy walks up. He turns to Gil, and he goes, drinking Bud Light there? What, you gonna start sucking dick soon?
Whoa!
I don't know if it was that abrasive, but it was in that area. Now, Gil, being the smart, adjusted guy that he
Articulate
is.
parent of a gay man.
So I didn't know his son was gay at all, right? So he goes, yeah, I don't care. I just drink Bud Light. And the guy's trying to make a deal out of it. Proceeds to order a vodka soda with a splash of cranberry.
Yes.
The most masculine drink you can order.
Exactly. And like I said, I preface it with, I don't give a fuck what you drink, but if you're trying to give someone shit about drinking a Bud Light.
You don't order a drink with a cherry in it, bro.
So then Gil came in. So I shut the dude down. I was like, you know how fucking dumb it is? You know how many problems I have? You know how many problems the world has? And if you take the time to give a shit about a goddamn beer, there's much more things to worry about in this fucking world. And guess what? There's a thing called I think doth protest too much.
Yeah.
If you're
I'm not saying if you're super anti Bud Light,
I mean,
if you're tapping your foot under the door in the airport, you're getting a little attention yourself.
Let's think about the Catholic priests who are like, no gay marriage, but they'll diddle little boys.
Oh yeah,
you know
or,
what I mean?
or lick their tongues like the Dalai Lama, the Dalai Lama,
The
Dalai Lama.
So I shut this dude down, and then the next day Gil comes in. And I was like, Gil, man, that dude yesterday, he was like, yeah, what an idiot, but he wasn't bothered by it,
He had probably forgot about it till you re-brought it up.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Like, yeah, he just wasn't concerned about it. So then he goes, man, let me tell you what this dude doesn't know. I was in the Marines for 20 years. I have a gay son. So then his son came in and I met him. I'd seen him before. And I was like, hey, man. And his boyfriend was there. I was like, can I officiate your wedding? It's like the most well-adjusted, easy way to deal with a jackass.
To officiate their gay wedding?
No. But how do you approach that? Like, because that's two different scenarios. Right?
I've gotten a few people lately that are like, Bud Light, still selling that? Like, I don't keep track of the sales, sir.
And do you choose to interact with, like, because I don't want to talk anyone into or out of anything.
I mean, I lead people away from things that aren't good based on what other customers experience and my own taste. But I'm not like, don't drink Bud Light. It's for the queers. Like, I'm not going to say that to somebody.
If someone's like, I've never tried the porter over here, is it good? I'll be like, I don't like it.
But you might.
But you might, and I'll give you a taste.
We have a coconut cream pie at work. People are like, how is it? I'm like, I don't like coconut. It's not my thing, but it's for you. But I just cheesecake exclusively, dessert guy. So that's what I like, and that's what I recommend. And it doesn't have to be cooked very long, like a peach cobbler or anything. This is kind of peach cobbler-y.
It is a little peach cobbler.
With the char on there?
Cobbler-esque.
So what's not a peach cobbler is this nice new quote of the week.
It's the quote of the week.
I'm going to give you the quote of the week, and you guys can try to ascertain what situation this was done.
I like it.
It's my guy. We'll just call him Jarl. It's Carl with a C, actually. His name is Carl with a C. Not really in any relation to my father, Carl with a K. Quote, I'm getting a potato facial. And y'all can't see it, but everybody in here looks incredibly quizzical.
Yeah.
They look like they got potato facials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting a potato facial.
Hang out for a beat. Hold on.
There's a lot of ways that could be taken.
Yes.
Wasn't drinking a Bud Light when it was said.
Okay, was he running through a farmer's field trying to steal mushrooms and someone shot a potato cannon at him?
No. That's a no. It was
Okay, because that's happened before, is what I'm saying.
It was raining this weekend. Yeah.
I've known people that have been running through farmers.
Potato cannon. It's the redneck version of assault shots.
Exactly.
Potato cannon hurt. Damn.
Cleveland
the
steamer.
Steam is part of it, Kelly. Steam is part of it.
Do you put your face over mashed potatoes after they're cooked?
I dropped the hint earlier in the podcast about what was going on to cause this said potato facial. It was a low country boil. And what had happened is the potatoes didn't get cooked all the way, which happens sometimes when you don't cut them in half or whatever. And everyone's hungry. They've been on the boat all day. They wanted to eat. And so we put the potatoes all back in the cooker by themselves. And it's trying to scoop them out. And all the potatoes, hard, rapid boil potatoes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the steam. I'm getting a potato facial. And I'm like, you just made quote of the week, buddy. And like I run around the corner to like talk into my phone. And like his neighbor's like, what are you doing over there? I'm like, leave me alone. I'm working. What are you doing? What? And Carl's like, let's leave him alone.
I'm making notes right now. Whenever I start writing notes, people ask me like, hey, I'm working. Thank you.
Leave me alone for just a second. I'll be right back.
I'm working. And when people ask like, what are you doing Monday night? When we record the podcast, I say, I'm working. I'm like, oh, no, you're not. You're just doing the podcast. I'm like, no.
They think we walk in here, we sit down, we record, and it's over, and no one does anything after that. It just happens.
And it's like, don't think of it. Working means you're trying to achieve something.
Yes.
You are intentionally trying to do something well because you...
And it's not often that people, that's something they haven't experienced, they haven't seen, but like, it just seems like this is it. But there's a whole, this is the least of it, is this. Everything else around it.
This is the easy
part. It took me 10 minutes to grill these goddamn peaches.
And when people walk in, they'll go, oh, I did. And this is not the most pro setup in the world. I mean, audio, fine. But like, video lights, it's kind of janky. But people still walk in and they
There's
go...
a drum kit over here behind me.
There's a goddamn drum kit over
creepy
there.
chick in the corner still.
People will walk in and go, oh, I didn't know it was like this professional. I'm like, yeah, we
aspire for greatness.
This is serious.
It's serious.
You doesn't ever really aspire for greatness?
Oh, I know who doesn't.
Oh, shit. It's the Karen of the week.
Are you hurt?
It's the Karen of the week.
Oh, shit. We forgot to tell you, since we're having Travis on the second half, we're going to go ahead and get our Karens and Darrens out of the way first because we got a lot to talk with Travis about his interview with Brian West and the future of Tybee, but let's hear it, Clint.
I want to imitate this woman's voice, but I'm not going to. She had long nails, very long nails. Her and her boyfriend were wearing orange from head to toe, or head to knee. All orange.
All the same color orange?
Yes. I mean, the orangest of orange.
Syracuse orange?
No. This was the beachy orange, if you will. They were here for a local event that happened. They go to the bar, order a cocktail from the bartender, top shelf margarita, proceeds to tell him how to make it, which is not even how you make a margarita. $14, zero tip. He goes, good luck with them. They're going to tip you like crap. They sit at the farthest table from where everything else is happening on Thursday day, the day shift, the restaurant I worked at 5 years ago. Not just the other day for a local event they were here for.
Yeah, I meant a long time ago. Long time ago.
In a Long Island far away. So they sit down. She's still got her margarita. So I'm being, hey, what do you guys want? Get you an appetizer. Y'all figure out what you want for dinner. Oh, no, hold on. We know. All right, what are you going to have, baby? And I'm like, I'll be back in a second. Well, no, we're good. I'm like, I'll be back with your appetizer in like 3 minutes, and then I'll just get yours.
You don't say, hey, no, we're ready.
And then you're not ready.
Hey, what do you want? Hey, baby, what do you want?
It's not going well. So
classic.
I go get their appetizer, do some other stuff, come back. I give them plenty of time. So I know they're ready. I come up, here's your app. What do you want? All right, I'm going to walk away. Oh, no, I want another drink. Oh, what are you going to have? I want a daiquiri. Well, we don't have a frozen drink maker, so we don't do daiquiris. But, you can't make a daiquiri. It's like, ma'am, actually, you want, one of y'all can walk to Wet Willie's. It's like right down the street from this place I worked 5 years ago. And it's a 5-minute walk both ways, maybe. I mean, you want to go, one of you wants to go get 2 of those and bring them back here, I'm happy to let you drink them at the table.
Yeah, because normally you don't want to let people bring in outside drinks.
I'm doing anything to try to make this person happy.
That's what I'm saying.
To placate their...
You were placating this, being like, hey, here's an option for you.
But you do have a blender in the kitchen, right? We do have a blender in the kitchen, yes. I know where she's going, but I'm not going to let her go there. Yeah, we have a blender in the kitchen for sure. Well, then you can make me a frozen daiquiri. It's like, well, actually, we can't use things we make food with to make cocktails with. It's cross-contamination.
It's a little thing called cross-contamination.
That's not how it works. And we're serving hundreds of people a day. We can't just make daiquiris randomly for somebody else. We don't have the ingredients. We don't have the, so this is just not how it works.
And what if you had just made an asparagus puree soup in the blender right before that?
Like, there's certain blenders for certain things, and none of them are for your daiquiri, Karen. So she's now won't talk to me or look at me. I don't care. So they're at the table. I walk up to the window to look at them constantly, see if they're still eating. Like, they're still eating. They have enough water to survive. So I'm watching. I come out there.
Can they see you?
No, the glare of the sun is keeping them from seeing me. So it's perfect. And so when I go back to the table, they're about done. I have the check in my apron, just in case they ask for it. Hey, you guys want any dessert? We have peach cobbler. And so, no, we're good. All right. He hands me his credit card it looked like he folded it in half a couple times. So it's barely holding on. Like, I put it into the machine very gently. He goes, I'm finishing. She does it. And so, like, they're not looking at me or talking to me in any way, but like what they have to say, I'm like, this is going to be a bad tip. Hits the no tip button. Doesn't reach to her purse to pull cash out, anything.
There's a no tip button?
So if you tip cash, you hit no tip and then tip cash.
Okay, gotcha.
So I know there's going to be no tip. Their bill was $75. I've now paid to wait on them. Not a lot, but tip out is 2%. So I'm paying about $1.50 to wait on these people. That's not cool. Also, you've wasted a bunch of my time. You're costing me money. You're now a drain on my wallet. It's negligible. I don't care about the money. It's the principle.
Yeah, and do you think a part of it was sticker shock? Were they not expecting it to be $75?
It was dicker shock because I wouldn't give them a damn daiquiri. And the thing is, the tip wasn't going to be more than 5% before that because their attitude, the way they acted. I've seen this kind of customer before. I already knew. So I just take the card out and go, enjoy the day. And I walk away. That's all I say. I don't pick up any plates off the table that are dirty. You can sit there with your trash for a few minutes. And they've thrown stuff on the floor. It's a mess over there. So I go inside. I go back to waiting tables. A manager at this restaurant, again, worked at 5 years ago, who's a complete moron. He has adult onset mental issues, mental deficiencies.
Special needs.
Yeah, I don't actually think he always was special needs. He's the kind of guy that stops at a yield sign every time at a roundabout at night with no traffic, just to be safe. Looks both ways in a one-way. He's not real bright, but he comes to work on time, and that counts, I guess. They flag him over. Jeez, and I'm watching through the window, because I'm like, something's going to happen here. I could feel the tension from them. She is pointing and carrying on, and he just got there. He's been there like 15 minutes, and he's getting this, and he comes to me and starts berating me from it. Now, you can't talk to people. I was like, hey, stop. Have I gotten a complaint the entire time I've worked here from a customer about me? Well, no, but it doesn't. No. Have I gotten one complaint? And how many people do you think I've waited on? Probably like 10,000.
Right.
And 2 out of 10,000 are complaining, and you're coming to me about it? You got to assume this is an outlier. These people are assholes. Well, she said, you slammed the credit card down the table. I'm like, it would have broke. It was already damn near bit in half anyways. And why would I slam it down? Go look at the cameras. Before you accuse me of something, someone you know and you've worked with for a while, maybe take the side of the person you know.
Also, don't come in hot to you with the accusatory stuff right away.
Yeah.
Say, hey, someone mentioned something to me. Can you tell me what happened?
The hostess, these are African-American people that are here for Orange Crush. She's an African-American lady. She was like, those are some of the worst people. She was bitching about them. And they pointed for her for reference of like that I was rude. And she was like, mm-mm.
Not playing
And she's
that
like
shit.
75 too.
So the manager that had come in, does he dress differently than you guys do?
Yeah, he's got a long sleeve collar.
Well, I
coat.
was going to say, because could they visually tell that he would?
He was standing at the host stand.
Okay.
So they were able to wave him over.
Well, because most Karens, they have like some weird ESP where
They can tell who the manager
Yeah,
is?
even if you're all dressed the same, they're like, that's the
But
manager.
see, a lot of Karens just go for oldest male. And so is that also. But I've had people stop me when I worked at Circa. They'd be like, oh, great meal tonight. We really enjoy your restaurant. And I'm like, wearing an apron. But they assume
Yeah.
apron, white shirt. I've had people thank me for the meal. Like, oh, your sauce was great tonight. I'm like, thanks. Like, not my table. It's not people I'm walking by.
Oh, wow.
I tell me, walk by, hey, how's everything? And they'll be like, thank you for everything. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Why me? Oh, I'm the oldest white male in the room.
Oh, right.
So they're just assuming I'm the
right.
manager. Don't you
Yeah.
dare assume my identity based on my race.
See, people assume that Mike Henderson is the owner most times.
It's because he looks like Poppy.
Well, and because he does so little and no one gives him shit about it, that they're like, oh, he must own the place.
Only
because-
only the owner can sit here and do fuck all.
and speaking of
You
Mike,
said adult onset mental issues. I was like, oh,
Speaking of Mike, though, I had a very positive. I have a very positive thing to say about him. So Saturday, it had rained a little bit, and we didn't need 4 servers, I guess. So Mike left early at like 8:00 on Saturday.
Yeah, I talked to him later. I could tell.
Sunday, he comes in. He's changing kegs. None of his tables have come up to me to ask for drinks. He's walking through my bar like, "Do you need anything?" I was like, "Who are you?"
Did he brush his hair?
Hair was
He never smells. I'll give him that. He never smells.
Hair was brushed.
He showers.
He never lifted his shirt above his titties. He didn't yell. He didn't go turn up the stereo.
Did you make sure
one
he was
time.
okay? Did he have a fever?
I was like, Mike, you should take every Saturday night off and come in on Sunday if you're
Just
gonna
bright and cheery.
If you're gonna act
Well,
like this.
my interaction with him Saturday night led me to believe he would not have felt that way on Sunday.
He was amazing that day.
Because we,
So
yeah.
So I have a Karen and a Darren. They were a couple.
Ooh, a couple Karen and Darren. You know, that's always nice when one Karen has found one Darren to spread their hate together along the world. That's like, oh, thank God. But here's the thing: at least they're together and not at 2 tables. You want to keep your Karen and Darrens in the same place if you can.
So
A Karen convention, if you will.
a murder of Karens, and then I don't know what you call a Karen.
A flock of Darrens.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying a Karen and a Darren couple. What would you call them?
Doom.
All right, so this is the same Thursday where I'm at the adult onset mental disability table. So our biggest, in my section in the inside, our biggest table 13, it's our largest table. One gentleman walks in, sits down. Amanda, who's bartending, looks at me and she goes, "Hey, you're going to love this guy."
She knows him already?
Yeah, he comes in there all the time.
Is he alone?
He was alone in the beginning.
You're like, sir, this is the biggest table we have?
The thing was, he went to the bar first to order his stuff. So, number one, he won't sit down for more than 5 seconds at the time. So I'm trying to walk over there.
Me too.
I'm trying to walk over there. She's like, "That's your table. You know, go." She made him his first drink because he likes Tito's, shaken, something, whatever, right? So I was like, okay, I'll try and serve him. Every time I walked over to him, he was like, "No, I'm good." 10 seconds later, he would get up and walk to the bar.
It sounds like he wanted to interact with Amanda and not you.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Yeah, weird. Which I was totally fine with because one person sitting at an 8 top, that's potentially 7 other people I don't have to deal with. So all my other
I
tables,
see where your head's at here. Yeah.
you know what I mean? So he's taking up. So Amanda says, well, his wife or girl, I don't know if
someone's on the way.
Someone's on the way. And I thought she said wife or girlfriend, but later on you'll figure out that I can't be exactly sure about this. So
Sister?
the Braves game is on. It's like a 1:00 game on Thursday, something like that. Whatever it was. The Braves are on. The DirecTV guy has shown up because we've had problems with the DirecTV. Right?
I know where this home run's going.
So he and Eric are trying to figure this out, right? So
I love that Eric wants to help the repairman for things Eric doesn't know much about.
you're absolutely wrong. Eric knew more than this guy, and I'll tell you why.
Lord.
Dude, the twists and turns in the story, it's amazing. So Eric knows how to do every goddamn thing at the bar. He can change the CO2. He can fix compressors in the...
I've helped him fix the oven mid-shift before.
He can do everything. So what he couldn't figure out was he was like, oh, it must be a problem with the DirecTV boxes or whatever, you know, and
those boxes go through. They're an open air on a beach.
And if you start fucking with the boxes and you know the connection, you know, you got to have codes, you got to have whatever that only DirecTV personnel can fix, right? So the DirecTV guy comes out, the game's on. All of a sudden, all the TVs go out. This lady that showed up to sit with Darren goes, "Excuse me, the Braves game is not playing anymore." I was like, "Ma'am, I didn't do it." I was trying to be joking. I was like, "I didn't do it." She goes, "Well, why don't you go get Amanda so maybe she can do it?"
Damn.
I was like,
she didn't take a look around at all the other TVs?
Every TV.
It's an attack on the Braves.
Yeah.
A Phillies fan has entered the building.
So literally, I was like, I wanted to be mad, but I was like, listen, the DirecTV guy is here right now. It's
a baseball game, baby. It ain't going nowhere.
It's a much bigger problem than just this TV. Like, look around at every single TV. well, I want to order some food. I was like, all right, let's get your order. She goes, I'll tell you when I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay, lady. All right, I got okay. So we're having this problem, whatever. She finally orders food. The game still won't come back on. She eats her food. They go to cash out. I was like, it'll be X amount of dollars altogether. She goes, no, he and I are separate. So I was like, were they a couple? Were they a couple or not? But
did one of them pay with a card?
One paid with a card and one paid with cash.
So maybe did the card person ask for a receipt?
No.
Then if it's a business thing, you get a receipt, you pay with a card, you can only pay one meal.
Nope.
I get that a fair amount.
Nope.
Not a business thing. They don't work much, I don't think.
No, they were pretty old.
Okay.
But they tipped like a normal percentage or whatever and got right out of there. The moment they walked out of the door, all the TVs flashed back on. And do you know why? I know you don't because I'm about to tell you.
I think I know why. I think because you waited.
So Eric goes under the building to check to make sure that the coupler for the two coaxial lines, it had gotten loosed from the last time that they had put the projector up for.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So Eric goes up under we've got 3 new DirecTV boxes, 3 new remote controls, all this shit. It was one loose cable.
So Eric fixed it.
But
you got 3 new boxes and 3 new remotes.
And I was like, Eric, you don't have to pay for them coming out for service. And
it's
he's
all
like,
free.
no.
Especially with what Eric pays. Hell no.
Exactly. Because, and we've told the story on the podcast before, but for the first 10 years that I worked there,
oh yeah,
DirecTV was residential.
Yeah, because you pay by the seat. We thought that was 40. And like you, and the thing is, like the fine Eric paid was less than the amount it would have cost him to have had DirecTV that amount of time or something.
Yeah,
It was like he came out ahead of this somehow.
Dude, he settled it out like a real.
I thought you were going to say Eric heard her talking shit to you when he was under the building, and he waited until she was leaving to plug it back in.
No, that's exactly what happened. He knew that's what happened. All right, so
got to plug back in.
Yeah, we're a little short on drinks, so
finished
listen.
my bourbon drink before you. Just want to point that the F out.
I refilled it while we were over here.
You were hiding behind the Karen.
Coming up in the second half, we have Travis Jaudon from Hot Grits Podcast. We are going to be talking about his interview with Brian West, Orange Crush,
Peach Fest,
other things. We're super excited to have him, and please stay tuned.
And a little chip review when we come back.
Oh yeah, and a little chip review, and we will see you guys in the second half.
It's gonna get chippy.
You did it last time. At least you did it, and I didn't do it.
It was my turn.
Hey, and welcome back to From Behind the Barcast. We have a very special guest, Travis Jaudon from the Hot Grits Podcast.
Super special.
Glad
to be back, boys.
This is a real honor. Not adult onset special. Just regular special.
Listen, the listeners of this show are privileged because having heard the first half of this episode, just a lot of science, a lot of knowledge.
Some history?
History, a little bit of storytelling, just a little bit, a dab will do ya, and you guys gave him a dab of everything.
But Travis is really going to church it up for us. He's
as I've been known to do.
Really going to improve this thing. So we love having you on because here in Savannah, you get a lot of really great gets on your interviews. You've interviewed Mayor Van Johnson.
Who's going to be on next week again, right?
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, I'm hesitant to as you guys know, before it's recorded, but that's the plan. Next week, Mayor Johnson. But last week, Brian West, Tybee councilman, as you guys know.
You had the Jerry Maguire guy, Lee.
Lee Steinberg, who was the agent for the Jerry Maguire was based off of.
Then you had Councilman Brian West. Then you had a chick from Chicks 2 Dips. What was the name of her podcast?
Yeah, Lauren Wolverton, Chicks and Dip podcast. So not a sports interview at all.
And then, I got through half of that, and y'all were talking about Nicki Minaj at one point. Nicki Minaj knowledge, her sports knowledge, opposite sides. But you came together on the guy who played for the Grizzlies.
Listen, Hot Grits is an audio experience, and we just take them places.
That's what I'm saying. It's such
we touch things.
It's such a wide,
next week the mayor.
A wide swath.
Yeah, I like that.
Eclectic in nature.
Men, women, politicians, Tybee idiots, everything.
Everything. Us.
A wide swath. Yeah, a wide swath.
That's a Tybee idiots? Yeah.
That was us, I think.
So, So, here on our podcast, we talked a little bit about Orange Crush last week. It was fresh on the mind. And
this week was Peach Fest.
Supposed to be something which, like turned out to be not so much of an event necessarily.
A few little things we'll get to later. It wasn't anything major there.
Sure, yeah. But you interviewed Brian West last week.
Yeah.
And so go listen to that.
Yeah, check that out.
Because there was a lot of great points made.
There were some rumors and myths dispelled. Lots of things happened. It was a great interview, and we have actually a quote before we get to Brian West we want you to hear.
Okay.
Yeah, someone sent us this clip, and we just wanted to just put it out real quick.
What you can't tell me, though, is whether there was a fire at the pier. I think we know that there was not a fire at the pier. Is that right?
There was not a fire at the pier. And, some people on social media were egging things on a little bit, and raising the level of hysteria, by posting things like that.
And you hate to see that. You really do.
You know what? You do hate to see that.
Kelly, he's the one that was starting the rumors.
Oh, that's a shame.
That's why I was pointing at him.
So we didn't warn Travis about this because this is the best thing ever because
It's a nice pull.
The tweet you put out, it got
What, like 80,000 interactions or something on Twitter?
A bunch, man. A bunch. Yeah, it was a lot.
We were texting back and forth during the big Saturday of Orange Crush.
Yeah.
And, trying to dispel our own rumors. And he was like, I think the fire's fake. He goes, don't care. A hit's a hit.
True.
I think it's a flex move that you left it up. It's like, hey, man, like it's getting clicks, baby.
I said apparently in the tweet. And that counts for something.
Oh,
and also,
I didn't know you said apparently. Okay.
And also, yeah, like it just because there wasn't a fire doesn't mean there wasn't ever a fire. You can't confirm that. And I wasn't reporting anything. I was just passing it along. That's what Twitter's for.
Yeah, Twitter is for all kinds of
like when I report something, people will know it. And something that I don't do a lot of reporting on is the state of the Tybee Island Pier. Like before or after.
His first foray into that. Give the guy some credit.
But hey, I'm not deleting that at all unless somebody convinced me that it was going to do more damage to have it up, then I would delete it. But by the time someone convinced me of that,
I think you did a service in a weird by proxy way because you showed that if one person puts one thing up, all of a sudden it becomes a story true or
that
not.
Story
you know what?
like
That's a great
wildfire.
point, Pax, and I never thought about that. That's a great point, and I'm a martyr in a way. When you think about it, thank God for me, or else
you've done us a service because that just shows people that
I love that.
As fast as the internet can move, even if things are true or false, you opened the door. You pulled the veil back.
You know who I brought in, Clint? I brought Buffington. When Buffington got involved,
Buffington getting involved was the best part.
It's just a level up, dude. When Buffington gets involved, I'm talking about where there is trouble, Buffington is.
He was Johnny on the scene during the car flipping over on.
Okay, so
Saturday.
educate me.
We talked about him. So last time he was on, we talked about Brett Buffington because how great of a name
WSAV,
it is
yeah.
For WSAV.
Oh,
what a good name for a news guy, Brett Buffington. Live on the scene.
So he's like man on the street reporter, like
one of the many people that dispelled the fire.
Yeah. So he's like the Jim Cantori that's out there at every hurricane.
Or he was out on the Murdaugh trial, the Trent Learcamp thing. Like the bullying thing.
He got confronted by a Karen in a restaurant a few weeks ago and put her in her place.
So later that night after I tweeted the fire that allegedly did not exist, we don't know.
We don't know. Hey, we can't confirm.
Can't confirm either way. We're not here to confirm.
That's not what we're here for.
That's for guys like Buffington to do. But later that night I just tweeted out, "Where's Buffington? Like this fire has him written all over it." Because bad things are happening.
Where's the Buff?
Here comes Buff.
He's got the Spidey sense.
He couldn't get out there because of traffic. The traffic, but he was there this past week, and he was on the pier.
They probably flew him in, yeah.
He was on the pier, yeah. He might have.
He scuba in somehow.
Look, he gets in there. It's great because
frogman suit in there
because he was at. So we'll get into.
Do y'all think that Brian West got that? I think he got what I was trying. I think he got that I knew my tweet was wrong in that interview, in that clip.
Here's the thing: I heard it. And I talked to him that night.
I don't know.
Dude, and when he was like, oh my God. I was like, I know.
See, I couldn't tell whether he got it or not because I think as you were interviewing him, he was making sure that he was keeping his points together.
Yeah.
And trying to be concise. So it kind of slid by. Like Clint makes a million jokes on the podcast. When I re-listened to them, I didn't hear him while he said them.
They don't all land.
No,
I'll
but
just tell you, they don't all land.
You can't land if you don't jump.
well, they don't land right away. But the second time I listened to it when I'm, posting the podcast, I'm like,
Yeah.
God damn, that was funny as hell. I missed it.
Some of those are just for the listeners, like just moments.
They're mostly just for the listeners.
Because it doesn't make me or the person I'm interviewing like come off great. But I give Brian a lot of props
he was great, man.
for coming. Like that's what's so awesome about him. I just shoot him a text on Sunday, ask him any chance I could convince you to come on. He's like, yeah, no problem. You know, tell me when.
A politician who's willing to speak his mind and get out there and talk.
Yeah.
You know why?
Unlike some of our other politicians.
You know why he was unafraid to come on? Because he's not afraid of having a long form discussion, because he's not towing some weird line or worried about skewing one way or the other to try and garner favoritism from any certain group. He's willing to say what he's thinking about and what he wants people to understand that they might not understand without his perspective.
Yeah, there's some people that I think, especially in politics, that they gravitate towards PR, like towards people here, and then there's some people that do the exact opposite. It's hard to get a word out of them. Hard to get them in public. Hard to get a photo of them.
Yeah.
You don't see them.
Well, they're afraid to say one thing.
They're just a name behind a title behind a link on a website with an email, and that's who they are.
In the world of short clips, though, if someone takes any clip of something that they said, they can misrepresent it in any way. So you don't want to say anything in public where it could be
misconstrued.
Well, I think people just want to see a normalcy, like
and he wants to get the facts out there. He wants to dispel rumors,
yeah,
whether true or false. We don't. But he gave you a lot of information that I didn't know, that I was happy to hear. Like one of the big ones was that Savannah State was like, "Don't go to the students. Don't go to this event. It's not going to be good."
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It's good. Yeah, I had not known that either. I mean, I was listening to that and was like, "Oh yeah."
And that was one of the first things that he mentioned. And well, just for our listeners who aren't local, Savannah State is our own HBCU. And I don't know if they were the originators of...
That's who started Orange Crush, because it's Shannon Sharp, who went to Savannah State, the most famous athlete ever from Savannah State, tweeted a picture of something happening at Orange Crush. Like, I'm ashamed of this. In the 80s, I helped champion starting this with a lot of other students.
Which is a classic Sharp move.
Oh, yeah.
Because their football program will have the most backwards, horrendous acts going on while winning and losing, and he won't say a word about it. Like while Dion's going back to all, and then Shannon, I don't know if you've ever known, he just doesn't say a word.
Yeah.
And then Orange Crush happens, and now he's the originator of Orange Crush.
Yeah.
Like, it's just mighty convenient.
Maybe
Like,
he started that fire.
Like, I don't know about that, pal. Like, is he really the originator
So
of
it started
Orange
in the
Crush?
80s, and he was there in the 80s. So
I'm not sure that he's claiming that he was the...
a co-creator.
He was there in the beginning days.
Yeah.
And
he was in the garage when Apple was there. Like, he was in there.
Yeah, he was
He's
part of
in
the driveway
room.
next door.
He was in the incubator, but the
In the
bigger
room.
the bigger point is that since it's supposed to be the intention was college students going to a place to have their spring break, essentially, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's for historically black colleges. Now, as the time has gone on, instead of the college kids attending, now it's turned into any person in Savannah who wants to go to a party. Now there's more non-college students coming to the event than college students, I would assume.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and
There's not 50,000 people at Savannah State.
I think, okay, but do you think the majority of people you guys were around there more than, like, all I was doing was asking questions and tweeting from a distance, AT&T and people.
I mean, there were people
Just
from all
long
over
distance.
the country, apparently. There were people that got...
But
said they're from
age
Jersey,
group wise,
New York.
were there more, like, the majority of them were college kids?
Or around that age?
College aged, but not necessarily from a university.
And then there's like an added, say 15 to 20%
That are...
of
adults.
like 30,
There were some guys there with grandchildren.
like in their 30s.
that are just locals, from Savannah.
The two people that were
basically.
having sex on the bridge were probably not HBCU students. But they were both taking selfies while they did it, so it was kind of cool. Hey.
Now, this past weekend, was it like if that would have been regular Orange Crush, would that have been a light Orange Crush?
Oh yeah, that would have been incredibly light.
You talking about the
What happened, Beach Fest?
So
Yeah.
it was nothing.
Oh, it was literally nothing.
So it was nothing.
There's nothing. I mean, it was such a small amount of people that when it started raining, everyone flocked to the pier, and everyone that was on the beach for the most part was able to get onto the pier and under it.
Yeah.
And that's not a lot of people. I mean, it was crowded as hell,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a lot of people.
But the week before,
Yeah.
the big one, and Brian mentioned this in the interview, the pure volume of people is the first problem, no matter what group it is. Also, they're all going to the exact same place. They're just hanging out right around the pier.
On the south end of the island. It's not like he said 4th of July, it's spread amongst North Beach, Mid-Island, it's all over the beach. So you have a similar number of people, but they're not all congested in the same area. And a lot of them are staying more so than like this. A lot of this crowd was just coming for the day. So you have, traffic creates more traffic issues. If you're coming for the weekend, you come here on a Friday, you don't leave till Sunday or Monday, it cuts down the congestion, even though it's already going to be congested anyways.
Yeah. So when I'm like trying to figure out what questions to ask them, I'm usually crowdsourcing like social media, like, because if people on social media had the chance to ask them a question or allege something, then I want to do that and then just let them respond.
Yeah.
That's the goal, at least for public figures like that.
Sure.
So a lot of people were comparing it to St. Patrick's Day and 4th of July. So that's why I asked him, like, what's the difference? And it seemed to me, and you guys can, it seemed to me that he thought the main difference was there's no attraction for Orange Crush. Like, there's no...
The event is the event. There's not a band playing. There's not fireworks happening. There's not a parade. It's
like, at least the parade has a definitive, like...
You're going to the parade.
You're going to watch
and even if it's a whole weekend, like, you know that the parade is this time, and
you're going to a concert.
It's going to go this route during this time.
You're going to you're going to a
fireworks on 4th of July. It's going to start around this time, end around this time.
And that was
this general area.
That was a perfect point that he made, where it's like, okay, you take any group of young kids all going to a place with literally not a central event to attend, like a concert or whatever.
It's just not feasible. Logistically, it's not possible. But who do you blame that on?
Yeah, but
and that's another thing I asked Brian, like, because for me, when Mayor Sessions said, what did she say? The quote about, but for now, Tybee Island is lucky. As if Tybee survived some great natural disaster that they didn't know was coming their way. For me, that was a weird quote to be like, "Oh, we're lucky."
Is that
exactly?
What
she said we were lucky, like we survived. Like you said,
see, when you mentioned that earlier, pre-production, we were lucky. I thought that she was saying we were lucky that we had that much like business coming to the island.
No, she was saying like, "Oh, we're lucky nothing." And no prop. She said something about no property was destroyed.
Yeah,
wow.
she made a statement that said there was no property damage.
Just a strong. There was
great
clearly property damage.
The statue at St. Michael's was knocked over. She said private property because she was safe about that because I don't think we got to this last week. There is a video taken out there of the new police truck we have, 4-door big body truck, covered in people twerking all over the truck. Yes, they didn't own the truck; they twerked all over it. And they're in the back, they're in the front. You can't even see if there's someone in the vehicle. But I've seen more than one video of someone's working on a cop car, and the cops are just sitting there because, like, what do you do? The car doesn't have. It's not like Kit from Night Rider. You can hit the electric button or pepper spray out the windshield wipers. It's people dancing on a damn government vehicle, twerking all over.
It's so funny to me.
We talked about that because this past weekend they had the big black GSP, like more intimidating.
They had a fucking helicopter too.
More intimidating looking vehicles, blacked out windows and stuff. I was like, if someone climbs on that hood, they probably got like
they're gonna electrocute them off. You got to get them off,
or a pepper spray or whatever.
It's like a jet button James Bond's car.
So how would you compare the police presence from weekend 1 to weekend 2?
Oh, quadruple, easily,
probably. But the question is, police presence, like however much you put in there, does more volume of police presence equal more containment of what's happening? Because I don't think that
that's what West was saying too. Like there is a
But
once you get above a certain amount of people over, like, is it a 3 mile island? Is that right? 6 miles?
basically, yeah.
Is that? I mean, so like, there is a number where it just doesn't matter.
Well, the thing is, the thing that could have been done in my mind is had them here already, not trying to get them here, which they tried to do the previous weekend. They were here on Thursday and Friday. They were ready, prepared. You know, they couldn't bring them in on a boat or anything. DNR had trucks, long bed trucks with 4-wheelers in the back, so they could get out on the 4-wheeler. And they were riding down the beach en masse with 8 4-wheelers as a group, which when there's the balance is better with police to uniform officers to people attending an event, you can control better. Because what happens is the pier got filled up last weekend when it rained. Like I said, everyone got on the pier. There were sheriffs on the pier, but like 6 of them. They couldn't contain what was happening. There was fights, drug use, people dancing on tables, speakers and everything, and it took over the pier. And so what the cops did, they came in gently, it looked, with our man Brett Buffington reported on this, so I know it's true. They came in and gently cleared the pier, but they had
the Buff man.
The Buff man was there. He was there. He was on one of the tables dancing, I think.
He's a problem, bro.
And so they had pepper spray guns. They didn't have to use anything, but they just kind of slowly walked everybody out, went under the pier, some strobe lights, walked everybody out of there, and just go back on the street.
And you're talking about this past weekend, not the weekend before.
Beach Fest weekend.
Okay.
That's because they had enough. There was more cops at that one thing than we had the previous weekend, period.
But there was also 10% of the people.
Oh, easily.
Right? So, okay, so let's think about this.
Dude
so,
selling tickets to her? What, like,
Yeah, that was a thing.
That was the thing, too.
That's so
Somebody was selling
crazy
tickets to the beach.
To
People bought them, too. Like,
all right, so let's think about the weekend before. Let's say they had that same sort of aggressive police presence, riding 4-wheelers down the beach. Wouldn't that sort of incite a little more anger from the crowd, having that much presence and being intimidating like that? Would that maybe spark a little more dissension between?
Yeah, maybe. Shit, if I know, like, I feel like it's their job to know. They just had better be prepared.
Better to have too much preparation than not enough.
There was a lot of, in the immediate aftermath, there was a lot of stuff coming out about, who's to blame, like, the car accident, the stuff at Fort Pulaski. There's a lot of, it's not us.
Well,
it's not us. It's not the city of Savannah. It's not the.
Here's the problem. Orange Crush as a thing, it's not organized by a person or a company or a, you know what I mean? So there's no one to turn to be like, hey, your event caused these problems.
So my thought of this, if someone's selling tickets to the beach, maybe start there and go, hey, you're promoting this event. You've taken in money. There's a
I've tried to get a bunch of those guys. I've tried to get a lot of those guys. It's hard to get them. Well, some of them will respond. But I mean, surely they have a side of it. Like some of the things that we asked Brian, some of the responses that they might give, we might be like, oh man, I didn't consider that. Or like they might have emails or correspondence with city officials for permit.
So you're trying to reach them to see if they have that.
Yeah, but like that's another thing is like you don't know who is at the top of these things. It's so hard to get anybody in front of a.
Who's the point man?
Yeah,
especially with social media. It makes it kind of hard to get to. And you asked him one of the questions that I proposed on Facebook that got no negative responses at all by anyone. I asked, what are the benefits to this weekend? And you asked him, are there more citations written or anything that would lead to more money being made, at least by the city? Because someone proposed that no. He said, he shut that down immediately. He said, no. He said, restaurants lost money. Places we were walking out on tabs. One restaurant had to close early, so they lost about $7,000 because how early they had to close.
He said that, right? Yeah. That was the number he said?
$7,000. That's one business. Now, I don't know if we brought this up last. We didn't bring it up last week. There was one business, apparently. WSAV posted an article last Monday.
Yeah.
Local Tybee businesses report record profits. It was a single business, not one. Businesses refers to. It was a guy who opened up an ice cream parlor 4 weeks ago. Did he have a record weekend? Your sample size here is small, sir. You've been open for 4 weekends.
No, he's been open for 4 weekends?
Yeah, he had been open all season. Like he just barely opened.
Oh, so he can't even do like a month over month?
No.
Tomorrow when I open my peanut stand in my front
that's
yard.
not great. I didn't know
record
that.
Business day.
It's gonna be my
businesses. The thing is, he's trapping businesses. Like, what are you doing?
That's what I was thinking too, because I was like, okay, well, another difference between St. Patty's Day, July 4th, most other events, there is some benefit. And so I was thinking, like, I thought myself, okay, more people get these little minor citations.
Parking tickets for parking illegally.
Yeah, more money. Like they have people parking, surely, like, right? They're paying parking. And even if all of them don't pay, like, isn't it more money? But Brian West, like, he was like, no, that's just not true, because I guess they weigh it against the.
Well, no, I was going to say Brian West made the very good point of, no matter how much police presence you have out there, if one police officer has to stop a person to give a citation, all of a sudden that's 30 minutes of his time taken, when 60 other, not crimes, but, like
dangerous situations are happening elsewhere. And the thing is, if that citation turns into an arrest, now that cop's gone for even longer.
Which is what he was saying. He was like, yeah, it's not like they're going to be able to work like
the
incidents quicker.
Yeah.
Like they already work incidents as quick as they can.
And Tybie's only so large. You'd have to make a triage center to hold detainees if you were to detain someone.
It's not feasible.
And most of those fines will just flat out likely not get paid.
And one thing he said that he saw was that people were saying on social media, on some of the multiple Tybee pages, I'm canceling my vacation there this summer because of this. People are seeing this on social media and going, I don't want to come there. So people that aren't astute enough to figure out that this is just a 1 weekend thing, or a 1.5 weekend thing, they were like, oh, this is scary. I'm not coming at all. So that's further lost money for local business owners, people that own Airbnb.
How prominent do you think that is?
I think
people really
a lot of
and
Mary
see.
Sue's probably, but like,
I think currently they look and see now, and they won't book in the future, because if they were looking to come down on one of these weekends and they saw what was happening on social media, that'll affect whether they decide to book down here in the future.
I saw people asking, like, is it safe to come in October?
Well, the thing is,
they're asking safety questions because of this.
But you can't even tell them, like,
a specific one. You just can only tell them a time frame.
That's
true.
April's a crapshoot.
Yeah, I bet next April and May you look back and see probably
a drop.
Hey,
so effect on
it's a Buffington project.
Effect on business as well. There's another thing that we touched on a little bit last week, but so like you were talking about St. Patrick's Day, every business downtown has record days because there's so many people and all the businesses are open. That's downtown. There's a million ways to get in and out of downtown. Tybee Island, there's only one way on and one way off. So you have businesses down here. No one can afford to live down here unless you own a place. But people that typically work at restaurants and bars down here, if they don't live down, they can't afford to live down here. They live off island. If they can't get onto the island to go to work because the traffic is so backed up, the restaurants are going to close. So a couple restaurants had to close because they could not get their employees here.
Or close early because they couldn't get employees here. Like, they were only on one shift.
Like if the night shift comes in at 4.
And they can't get here.
Like that was, you can forget about that on Saturday, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you can just completely forget about it.
And that happens other times as well, but it's not.
But again, there are benefits to Tybee for those other times. Like there is like on this, it's like businesses are closed, but yet there is still no benefit. There's nothing to outweigh it.
The point that I was getting to was, so these businesses close they have to close because they don't have employees. They can't get the employees down here, right? So then you have this group of young black college students that are going to these places and they're closed.
And they're assuming it's because...
And they're like, oh, y'all are closing because it's us, because we're black.
Which is a logical step for them to make.
It is not out of the realm. Right? And there is a racial aspect down here.
There's a few people that are.
But that's not the exact reason for that. But coming from their perspective, I would probably think the same thing too. Oh, they're closing because it's us.
Well, the thing is, all it takes is one person to go, they'll close because of us, and spread that information, and then it gets all around. Like I said, Zunji's got bombed with some of that last weekend. And it's like, look, it's a decision to make. I mean, we know someone, a black guy owns a business out here. He closed his business last weekend or weekend before last because he was like, I don't want this to be. I don't want to be a part of this. I'm not in a good place to be down here. I think it's just easier to be closed and save myself the trouble, the hassle. All people want to do is use my damn bathroom. And I get that. You got to use the bathroom. There's not a lot of public bathrooms on Tybee.
What
There's
was
a
it
few.
like at Poos? Poos is in the cut a little bit.
Poos is
So-
way cut.
So Poos, we never get hardly any of the Orange Crush stuff because if you're on Highway 80 looking down into there, it just looks like a bunch of art shops or whatever. But the people that we did get, so I worked on the bad Orange Crush weekend. I worked that Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, I heard you talking about the skateboard.
Both Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
I had like 12 to 15 of the Orange Crush people come in because someone had referred them that knew me or knew Huckapoos. They were like, "Hey guys, listen,
Huckapoos will be open.
Yo,
You go
low
down
key,
there.
low key, low key.
yo, go holler at my boy
So maybe that's
B."
why you got
sort
some
of
cooler
thing.
people.
And I had
Yeah.
cool people. But typically, they just don't know where we are.
Because once you get, you don't stumble across Huckapoos.
Yeah.
You gotta be going there to be going there.
It's on like a referral basis for the most
This
part.
shit.
But
I need one of those. One of the producers.
Yeah. Not great with doors, but good with everything else. do we want to?
yes, we do.
Okay.
So
I feel bad because he just really did me a solid.
here's a pro tip for you. If you have a sliding glass door, don't use Windex. Don't use all this other fucking bullshit. You take 91% IPA, isopropyl alcohol, mix it with a little bit of water.
He slammed right into that glass door. Holy hell.
But he recovered so well.
I mean, it was so pure.
So
Good because
well, so quickly.
he went inside and walked it off and came back outside.
It's the only thing you can do.
You own it.
Yeah.
When I was at the Braves game, I thought it was last season.
You gotta rub some dirt on it or something.
I walked slam into a glass door, like full sprinting, not sprinting, but I was I was looking beyond where the window was and hit it. And I would look at the next guy next to me, like, damn, that window's clean. Like, I owned it because you got to own it. You can't. You can get mad, but it's no one's fault but your own. Maybe that's the window.
Yeah, you can't. And then you just ask about. You're just like, what? That's a
You
great
gotta
window.
take the L. Do people respect it way more when you just take the L?
It's a great clean window.
Yeah, and be like, hey, you did really well. It's like Boise State's football field.
All the birds it kills every year.
100 birds die every year because they're diving into
They're just
it.
sliding into it.
So as your interview went on with Brian, the thing that I noticed was each question he had not necessarily concise answer, but he there was no pandering answer. He wasn't being cautious about what should I say or what can I say.
Yeah.
It was just factual. This is my opinion. Did you take that away from it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, he's measured, but it was like I guess I could tell that he was like prepped for some of those questions. I mean, they weren't like out of left field questions.
Well, you got to figure someone of his intelligence and understanding of politics. He's done some research. He's looked at social media and seen what people are saying to be prepared for a lot of the common questions you're going to
And
get.
he's been around, man. Like Brian, even before he was on Tybee City Council, like he's seen a lot of this stuff up close. And so I like to always find out, like, okay, where does this one comp? Like, give me a comp.
Sure.
And when someone like him says, this is like nothing we've seen before, that stands out to me. It's like, whoa. Okay,
You know it's truthful.
this guy's seen like, decades.
And
worth
see,
of-
And I was
he-
saying that to people. I was like, this is not like anything we've ever seen because I've experienced, 25 of them.
Yes.
And it wasn't like Fort Lauderdale in the 60s either. That's an unequal comparison.
He was such a refreshing. So he was my friend. Like I've known him before he ever got on council because he's been a regular at Huckapoos all
Who,
the time.
Brian?
Brian, yeah. And he's a super cool dude. And when he got on council, I almost told him not to because I was like, "You're too cool of a fucking dude. You don't want to waste your time trying to deal with these, with this dumb shit around here." You know what I mean? But hearing him, because when he and I talk personally, I don't ever bring up like Tybee politics at all because
Where are the swings on the beach?
I don't care about that shit because he's my friend. You know what I mean? And I don't want to pressure him into, because if people try and talk to me about like work when I'm not at work, I'm like, I don't want to fucking talk to you. So I'm not going to ask him about fucking council questions or policy questions when he's out.
You don't want me to
having-
text you on Fridays and ask you who's playing at the bar you're not working at tonight?
Exactly.
But even for guys like him, there are times where you can tell that they're more passionate about something or just more, I don't even know if passionate's the right word. into it than
He's
other
more-
things. And he was like,
He's more willing to address his opinions without the editing of, I should say this or I shouldn't say this. It's refreshing because he doesn't speak like the rest of the people do. He doesn't mind just giving you a fucking straight answer.
And he'd rather you get a straight answer, even if it doesn't sound like what you want to hear. It's the damn truth, versus trying to massage it into there was no damage to public or private property. You didn't have to say that. You didn't even. I mean, she made that statement like what, Sunday evening, Monday morning. Like, you could have did some more research and figured out there was. And you got to imagine some people that were part of that church, they're mad about that. You're acting like we don't matter. Our private property doesn't matter. It's because it didn't fit her agenda. Her agenda of we're lucky.
And now in the context that I'm hearing it.
And she's up for election this year, which we're lucky she's up for re-election this year.
well, and the thing is, Brian agreed with her on that. Like, I mean, he felt strongly, I think, that there was it sounded to me like he thought there was little that could have been done.
But I see, I didn't expect that.
But maybe that's not the takeaway. Maybe that's just my takeaway.
No, I think that he's correct in that because it's unprecedented how many people were down here for this one. So
yeah, but that's mighty convenient just to say. We couldn't have stopped it.
Do you have a fucking answer?
No.
Exactly. So
I had a mild answer, but it's the thing about it is anything you do to address this has to be done on other weekends. You can't just do it Orange Quest weekend. So the thing is do you make April a festival month or whatever, where you every Saturday April, you do the same thing to slow down the flow of traffic, to check people coming onto the island? Where do you do said thing?
Yeah, you would just hope they learned from it, right? They surely, it took them 1 weekend to adjust. So now that should carry over to next year.
But the adjustment that they made it isn't equal to the result.
Maybe not.
But it would be better than what we had.
They got to try something.
They try something, and I think they weren't expecting the same kind of crowd this past weekend. There's no way they were. They can say they were.
They weren't expecting.
They were. If they'd have been, they were hoping. They were thinking 15,000 people, which it wasn't even close to that. But because it kept everybody else away that wasn't going to Peach Fest to shake their eggplant on the beach. That was literally on the flyer, a peach and eggplant contest. I'll let you listeners figure out what they mean by peach and eggplant, but.
Okay, so I'm
an eggplant guy.
Let me pose this. So in the same,
no doubt,
the same vein and idea of not doing a certain thing on one weekend, spreading it out, so it's not like, hey, we're targeting a certain group or a certain time. I think just ballpark, spitball idea. So a limit of cars that can come onto Tybee.
That can pass Bull River Bridge.
If you have a Tybee sticker. And you live down here,
or a pay stub,
or
you work on Tybee,
or whatever, right? You can go, but there has to be like a set limit of just general vehicles,
like cap. A one on one off.
Well, no, just a cap.
Like, okay, we're at 550 cars that aren't here for anything but pleasure.
And then what happens?
And then you just stop the line. I guess what you're saying, right? Until two come off, one in, one out. After that.
Where? At the beginning of the causeway?
So that's the thing. Is where do you start?
Where do you do?
So one of the solutions I heard.
Because the count starts once you're on the island.
Yeah, that's the reason I heard a good one.
But that can't be where you stop it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite ones was from a local idiot that said, a quick solution is just to widen the roads. Just real quick, widen the roads.
Now, what a Johnny on the spot that guy is.
I mean, I was like, you know what? The only thing that would take longer is to dig a tunnel under the way.
I didn't know he was a Department of Transportation.
You guys grow great out here. You guys are just
he didn't live on Tybee. We're not taking him.
Science.
He stayed in Savannah with this dumbass.
When are people allowed to talk about this? Because that was another thing that.
So that's the thing. So Brian was under the impression that we all were. There was going to be a city council meeting last Thursday about this. They pushed it. They addressed things just the city council and the mayor this past Thursday very quickly. This coming Thursday, May 4th, May the 4th be with you if you go to this event, that you can submit questions before the event or during written, and there's a third-party moderator, because I asked the city of Savannah page this.
That.
I got a written answer from them. They addressed me. They text, whoever runs that account did a great job. They messaged me privately and said, thank you for a good question. I'm asking the people that are organizing the event. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Because they wanted to squelch something like that. Because out of the 80 comments, no one had addressed that. I ask it gently. I get a polite answer. I'm polite to them back. That goes smoothly. If you're polite to people, they'll give you a light.
What page was it?
The city of Tybee Island's like official Facebook page.
Okay.
And so they said questions can be submitted there. but a third-party moderator will be choosing what questions are asked, and they will be the person asking questions, which you said last week, it's probably a good idea not to have everybody open speak. There's too many people.
It's 100% good not to let every single person
At least
speak.
breathalyze them first.
Sessions is the one I think that gets to be a true moderator. But now if there's a third party moderator.
No, we
They
need
said third party. What they said.
we need the third party moderator.
But who chose the third party moderator? Who chose the third party moderator? I'm going to say his name. Whoever's name it was, it started with an S. It may have been a Shirley or a Sean, but I bet it was one of those two.
Oh, I don't know who the third party moderator is.
The person that chose that moderator.
Oh yeah.
Who votes for moderator?
How do you get that gig?
Yeah, how do you well do they
think
even,
they fly him in?
do they even vote on that shit? Well, a bigger
They
point
fly him in for,
Fly him in.
a bigger point that I'm
Blindfolded.
from
I'm
DC,
thinking about is
from Langley.
when they were talking about having those council meetings like the week after or even 2 weeks after the actual event happened, everyone's blood is still boiling at that point.
That's a good point. Yeah, you let it die down a little bit.
You gotta, you know, when you're mad at someone and instead of
Well,
calling them and
nobody
yelling at
has
them,
mastered that trait better than Tybee Island. Than the act of putting something off to talk about it. Like
okay,
they're pretty freaking good.
I
at
know
that.
what you're saying that they put certain things off
Come
so
on
that
now.
people will forget about it, but I'm talking about the perspective.
It's a good
of,
tactic.
A lot of
Don't
people like that.
don't address things that you're upset about.
Yeah, it's
in,
smart.
in the heat.
I
of
like to write it down, read it back, see how you feel later. I've done that before.
have a measured and
Yeah.
prepared thought about it. And
But
you
that
can't-
doesn't make for good podcasting, though. That's why you got to have Brian on right away, right after, while he's still pretty hot about it. I can't
See,
let
I
him.
want the
I can't let him
politician hot.
calm down.
I want the politician hot when they talk about it, but I don't want the dumb drunk citizen hot when he.
No. You don't want that guy.
No, you don't. Because people were bringing the National Guard and like, okay, first off, how are you getting them out there right now? They can come in on boats. What are we doing? You have frogmen everywhere. This isn't the Coast Guard. They're not highly trained.
It's also interesting to hear him the Monday after Orange Crush, before there was the idea of what was the second weekend called?
Peach Fest. They called it. It was Orange Rush or
Orange
Peach Fest.
Rush,
So
yeah.
he had it, but it was interesting to hear him like there was worry in his voice because that's Monday. That's early on.
Yeah, he still has
After-
fatigue. He's still behind on sleep from Saturday.
Yeah.
And Sunday was not easy either.
I think at that time he did think that Thursday's city council meeting it would be on the because like at that time it probably was,
But hearing him,
but
and
they made a special
They were smart to move it though because you get to see how it happened the next weekend.
for sure.
you have to give it some time. But hearing him on your interview with him, it didn't sound like his blood was boiling about. Like he wasn't being reactive. Or,
No.
Or abrasive, which was super refreshing to me.
Yeah,
and that
But it
Monday,
was fresh on his mind, like because he's on the beach cleaning up and stuff.
That's the thing. And that's
Yeah.
one question you asked him. That his answer that was one of the more disturbing answers he gave. Not that what he said was he wasn't being disturbing. You asked him about who helped clean up. He was like the mayor was out there, I was out there, locals, the beach cleanup crew was out there, and you said was anybody that helped promote or plan this festival or even seemed to have attended it help clean up, and he was like not that I saw, which is a good answer for.
Yeah, I
him,
wanted to
that I
be
saw.
clear about that because you do hear, that was the next thing I thought was coming out was a story about Orange Crush organizers on the beach.
And
That's a great photo op. If there's any sense at the top of that organization, like you make that photo op happen on
But
Sunday.
what organization?
Before you-
there isn't
Exactly,
one.
but
Well,
like
ever, that shit, you
that's the
wouldn't want
kind of thing the local news would jump at. It wouldn't be difficult to.
It would be really great PR. That would be
Buffington on the scene.
Those are the moves you would make. I don't know if it would acquire like the talents of Buffington. I don't know if you get that kind of pull.
But
Something close.
But against the backdrop of Sessions'
Yeah.
press release, they could have that. I mean, those are the moves you would
And
think
that's
would
good
be
for
the
everybody.
moves
the
of.
city, for the people, the promoters, the event.
anyone with a semblance of a brain, even if they didn't care about whether the beach was clean, just having the photo op and being out there. But even outside of just
Just
that
one guy with one arm with a pickup tool and a bag of trash you can't get the trash into.
outside of that, even that one event, I went to the pier after like Labor Day or just some like normal ass holiday because they were doing something on the pier about like a conservation or whatever. It was like a whatever.
Lame.
It was a fire
I'm just
marshal
kidding.
event.
Conservation's cool. Whatever.
There was a giant group of people down on the beach cleaning up after whatever the party was the weekend
Yeah.
before that they always do. There's like a contingent of
Tybee Clean Beach, people do that. And then there's people like Jen Knox that do that too, that go out there with people, and especially Orange Crush, 4th of July. I mean, there's fireworks. There's always there's more than one group that shows up to clean. Because if there's fireworks, other people bring fireworks. They're all over the
Man, I
place.
bet you find some stuff too.
Oh,
I bet you find some
So
stuff.
I asked somebody that when I was like, what kind of, like, what's the weirdest thing you found? What's the coolest thing you found?
Any
And they're
ground
like,
scores?
Any ground scores? Any, Kelly got 2 new hats out of Orange Crush.
It's a big weekend for you, Kel.
Kelly crushed the hat game.
Yeah.
Not the
No,
door opening game, but
huge.
the hat game.
So when we ask what the benefits are,
He slid right in and
there you go.
There's the benefits.
There you
Well, we mentioned.
twerking in hats, baby.
Yeah,
Twerking in
we
hats.
mentioned it last week. Our buddy Edo was like, "What are the benefits watching girls twerk with big booties on cars?"
He stands by that statement too.
I'm cool with that too. Also,
I mean, yeah, that.
as long as
Thing is,
nobody's
some of
hurt,
those booties are too big.
no such thing.
There's
Blasphemy.
ask for me.
Yeah. All right.
When you come up in the club, ask for me.
So towards the end of the interview,
I love that.
I'm saying bye,
with
ask for me.
Brian, I just want to know your takeaway from, because the interview wasn't about like, hey, give me answers, give me solutions right now, but taking away like his demeanor about the whole thing. For me, listening to it, I was like, this is the most, not central, but the most measured and thoughtful.
The word experimental he used was, I loved it. He didn't have to identify. He goes, here's the thing with any group of young college-age kids that are very experimental with nothing to entertain them, they will entertain themselves.
Yeah.
And he is correct. Because back in the damn day before there was lots of video games, social media, the tomfoolery outside was way worse than it is now. Now it's people are getting bullied, attacked, and fucked with on social media. All that was outside. We were building forts in the woods with damn nails and glass traps. Because someone came into our fort. We're like 9, 10 years old, setting up traps that could definitely injure somebody in a terrible way because we had nothing else to do. We were bored. We were entertaining ourselves.
I accidentally set my fort on fire because we have the palm trees down here and the little fuzzies between all the little.
Sure.
I was like, I'll just light.
Of course.
I'll light that little
Yeah.
thing on fire.
Do you want to talk about lighting things on fire?
All right.
I started like a secondary arson size fire one time behind where I live now, pretty much. Not at my house, but close to it. When they were building the Walmart by Battery Point, it wasn't open yet. In the 7th grade, me and this kid, Tony DeMuro, went into the Walmart while it was unopened. And we're like just poking around because we're 7th graders. Prior to going to the Walmart, though, we had dug under the fence and climbed. We were behind on the other side of the fence, it's like a 10-foot tall fence. We had spread out an area. I knew how to do a controlled fire. I was a Cub Scout. Area of dirt
Again,
in the middle of fire.
Sure.
Start a small fire. And when the fire, we're burning cheesy poofs. The cheesy poofs are fun to light on fire.
Now, were you at the pier Saturday night?
So
I think Fritos.
we can take this chip challenge all the way if you want to, and just fire that thing right up. So we have the fire. I put it out. We go under the fence. Kind of a windy day. Go into Walmart. We're screwing around. Security people working there trying to come find us. I climb up onto the top shelf of one of the cabinets in Walmart, and I'm laying down flat on top of the shelf to not be seen. You know, the top thing,
You're
there's nothing up
planking.
there.
You're
I'm
planking.
tucking.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm out of the way. They can't see me, so the camera couldn't see me. And this fucktard cuck bastard is going, Clint King. But what I didn't tell you is what I did before I went into Walmart. I picked up the phone outside. The payphone was working already, and I dialed 911.
Oh,
So
no.
there's a fire at the pier. No.
You narked, I was going to say, you narked yourself.
I dialed 911 and said, help me, I've got a hole in my ass. Help me, I've got a hole in my ass. It hung up. So while we're walking around Walmart doing
What
this
a
dumb
prick.
shit, the cops have come to this phone because it wasn't Orange Crush weekend. They had nothing else to do.
Of course.
And they've come to the Walmart, just 2 cops. All unbeknownst to me the while, this fire has smoldered on the other side of this fence and has spread into the brush and has lit all this little brush on fire at about a 5-house area, burning the fences that are up against the brush.
My God.
The fire department became involved. I believe it was a 2-alarm fire. I'm not sure in the 7th grade. My dad might be able to refresh me on this.
Statute of limitations.
How long has that been?
So here's
Yeah,
the thing.
you're good.
I'm like, they don't know it was us with the fire. So he and I are silent. I leave this situation not in handcuffs or any problems because they don't know the fire was us. They're not associating the 2 events together. He tells his brother a couple days later that we were burning Cheetos in the woods. His brother tells his mom tells a neighbor, who then tells the motherfucking fire department. I am now in all kinds of shit.
You're just laying on the shelf.
Leave me on the shelf, Tony. I would have been fine on the shelf by myself.
You could have made it.
That's like
That's unfortunate.
My father, being the man he was, this being the early 90s, instead of me going to jail or anything at 11, he was like, all right, to pay for this, my son and his friend will mow everyone's yard affected by this, and the amount of money it costs per lawn mowing to repair your fences. And so dad gets 4 or 5 houses agree on this. We go the first time, we do an okay job, then they're giving a shit about doing it. And so I figure out, if we just fuck up every one of these lawns, they're going to give up. And all of them but one man gave up. He got his, whatever the number was, the beginning.
He gonna get his.
All 10.
Yeah.
His name was Ray Renteria.
Yeah.
I'll never forget his name.
Doxed him, dog.
Yeah.
Put him out, dog.
He might be dead, bro. I don't know.
Take him out.
Years.
We
Take 'em
forgot
out.
to put that. We're going to have a
Take 'em
drop for
out.
Clint on this.
That was his real name. I'm not disguising his name.
Take him out. Take him out.
Yeah. Look, I stand by Ray.
Take
Ray
it
did the
out
right
back.
thing. Make that kid mow that lawn every time. I beat the shit out of his brother,
you,
though.
Ray.
I beat the shit out of his little brother. You can't rat on me, you stupid bastard.
That's like you cut their yard shitty, so they don't want you to do it anymore.
The point of that was to say there was no fire at the
There was a
pier.
fire at the pier. I wasn't involved
Wait
in
a
the fire
minute,
at the
that's
pier.
It's just another way for
Anyone
him
call the
to.
cops about their asshole?
It's another way for him to rub it in.
Oh, dude.
Did you guys see the drone footage of the
fire
first
on the
ever
pier?
seen drone footage from the night before? Did you see that on Twitter?
Oh, yeah.
It was just a phone video from like one of the city market bars downtown.
Yeah. It was like, it's drone
And I
footage.
tweeted the video and I said never before seen drone footage.
It was from like
I've
Treehouse,
seen it,
you know?
and it got that was like close to 100,000 impressions on Twitter. And one guy goes, "This isn't drone footage," and you can see the person's arm in the phone video.
Yeah.
Like it's just a.
Their hands on the damn railing.
So yeah,
I said, damn,
keeping them clicked.
I said, damn it, let us have this.
The man have his drone
We
footage.
rented the drone for one night.
Let me have the fire
One
on the
time
pier,
thing.
man.
He
I'm
didn't take the
getting
cap off the drone. He ran right into the
I'm
wall.
getting engagement.
The people at the TV stations were like DMing me asking, "Can you confirm if the fire's still blazing?" And I was like, "No, I can't confirm that there ever was a fire."
No, just ask.
I was like,
Buff.
"I can't never." I was like,
there's
"I
a fire
can't
next year?
confirm that." Like, I'm
There's a
not.
fire next year. Suspect number 1.
I
This
go-
guy right here. I gotta stay far away from Tybee.
I
next
just
to
go,
Orange Crush.
dude. The video looks like a fire. And they were like,
Well, the guy in the background goes, "The pier's on fire." And I was like, "Wait, why's that guy out
It's
there?
another thing
Why's
weird,
Elmer
yeah.
Fudd at Orange Crush?"
now I didn't even know about the audio until I like was just about to tweet it. I never heard, I hadn't heard the audio.
You got that tweet written, you gotta go.
Yeah,
Cindy, don't think about it. That's what I do.
fire away, homie, numbies.
Strike while the iron's hot.
Or don't strike the iron at all.
Yeah,
Paxton, killing that job. Killing that iron strikeless thing.
yeah.
This has been fun. But we're not
Okay.
done.
Okay.
We all need to chip in
Oh, we do need
and tell
Mm.
our top 4 of all the chips
Chip
that we
in.
enjoyed. Paxton with the
the Muncho.
Munchos, like salted air crisp. Kelly with the Funyuns. Travis with the cheesy poofs that are flammable.
Cheese puffs.
Cheese puffs, they're flammable. Flammable for sure.
Come on,
And then Clint with
put
the
some
Trojan
respect
Doritos.
on their name. You had the classic reds, the Doritos,
Classic nacho
cheese.
cheese. So, I mean, are we all going to put our chip at number 1? Or is anybody going to acquiesce and say another chip was number 1?
I'm still gonna put my chip.
Are you going to go
in
4 up? You want to just do a quick 4 up? Kelly's not on mic, so he brought the Funyuns, so we don't care about his opinion. Because number 4, Funyuns. Funyuns are on the bottom.
Funyuns my number 4.
Funyuns, my number 4.
All right, Kelly's off the island. But thank God he has 25 bags of chips backed up. If you haven't watched the chip video, go watch it. It'll be on Patreon for this week. And then if you want to see it soon, then maybe we'll put it in the public later
All right.
on.
He brought a
My,
sack.
my number 3, Doritos.
Wow. I'm gonna put my own puffs at 3. Actually,
I'm putting the Munchos at 3.
Okay. 2.
2 Munchos.
My 2.
Mm-hmm.
Funyuns. Wait a minute, no, Funyuns is my 4.
Funyuns is a universal.
You've got
Four.
Puffs and you've got Munchos left.
Yeah, Puffs is my 2.
Doritos is my 2. I was wrong. It was the Puffs. Yeah. Puffs number 1.
Damn.
Doritos for the versatility But the thing is, they're fucking corn chips.
But Puffs overall.
Puffs overall.
Puffs.
Look, I hadn't had a Puff in so long.
Best ability is availability.
It's as a single-use chip, it's the Puffs.
Yeah.
Doritos is my close number 2 because it's versatile. It's got more uses. But I tell you what, if someone goes, I have 2 Puffs and 2 Doritos, you can only have one of the 2. I'm now choosing the Puffs.
Versatile.
Death row chip, I guess.
Death row chip.
And so,
Last
you know
meal
that there's a
chip.
new rap snack too with Nick Cannon, but you can only get them on the 1st and the 15th. Heyo.
Hey you.
Shawshank
Travis.
Redemption. Shawshank.
That joke didn't land any better than my tie-dye joke did.
That's all I
Travis,
had.
thank you for joining us this week.
Thank you, boys. This is
was,
fun as always.
Very amazing. And remember to listen to last week's Hot Grits with Brian West and this week's with Mr. Clint, the Mayonnaise Marauder Moses,
I'll put some mayonnaise on
as a
later.
guest.
Yeah.
Also,
Thank you,
thank you to our Patrons. Go follow all of us on everything.
And thank you to
Sunset Kelly on the ones and twos.
you didn't get it. You didn't get it.
Yeah, I
today.
didn't get it.
I thought you hit it by accident, so I was like, wait till
A
the
class
end.
act.
I
But
didn't get it
Kelly's
the
Michael's
first
because Travis got his mic. So Kelly, thanks everybody. He said he's
Hot
sorry for the
dog.
funnies.
And we love you.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Good night.